So good morning. This is the part of the Realtor Advocating for Political Progress Committee, and we're going to talk to Louie this morning about RAF, Realtor Action Fund. So Louie, exactly what does Realtor Action Fund do for the realtors?
Yeah, well, good morning, Jeanette. Good morning, Tyson. I can see Tyson in the background. Good morning,
There's a little
Carrie.
security guard, yeah.
Erica and Karen, good morning. Yeah, so the Realtor Action Fund is, it stands for, well, you could shorten it by saying RAF, but it stands for the Realtor Action Fund. And essentially what it is it's a PAC, or a political action committee, whose investments that come from realtors and people in the industry go towards supporting legislation that is good for the industry and fights legislation that is bad for the industry. So, the simple way to think of it is an account or a political action committee, as they call it, designed to support our industry politically. Sometimes the PAC also, as we all know, on the local level supports candidates, or on the state level. It can also, some of the funds in certain accounts can actually be used to try to defeat candidates that are against our industry. As we've seen, a lot of council members, for example, on local levels, try to promote things like full-scale rent control, issues like that. It can also be used for. So it's a pretty wide uses that the money can go towards, but in its basic form, just think of it as an account or a pot of money that is used to support our industry.
So can you tell us about any successes that we had last year?
Oh yeah, there's tons of them. And I'm sure, as I'm saying these, there might be some experiences that people have and you can relate directly to how the money was used. But just one main one that comes right off the top of my head is allowing our industry to be declared an essential industry during the pandemic. Of course, when COVID-19 started, we didn't know, it was a lot of uncharted waters. We didn't know how long it would take to get out of it. We're still in it. But we didn't know how long and what types of protections we would need as an industry. And a lot of the money that was raised from realtors like we see here today went towards making sure that our industry was deemed essential. And that meant that although we had, mask mandates and certain protections, we can still show houses under certain guidelines. We can still operate as an industry because as we all know, real estate is a very important component of the economy. That's just one success. Trying to defeat rent control. If we didn't invest the way we did and lobby the way we did, rent control would be much more widespread across local cities, and cities would have a lot more leverage. Even though we didn't really get what we wanted in terms of rent control, it would have been way worse. So those are just two successes, right off the top of my head. There's a whole list of them, but again, those are just two.
Karen or Carrie or Erica, do you guys have an experience or a question to ask Louie?
One of the things I can share, and I know Carrie, for example, even Erica, you've been to Sacramento.
And Karen, all three of them.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Karen, you've been there too. That's right. And one of the things that I think people sometimes maybe, well, I don't want to say forget, but it's difficult to make the connection. But the investment to RAF and the work we do in Sacramento, because all of those, they're all connected. We go and talk to a senator, for example, or we talk to our assemblywoman about our local issues. All of that money used to educate people on why certain bills are good or why certain bills are bad. That's exactly what it's used for. There's a connection between what we support and what we fight, and the money that's invested in RAF. And maybe somebody can share their experiences of what it's like to talk to a senator or an assembly member, because that's definitely connected.
Well, I could share something really quick. I forgot if it was the last time we were in Sacramento or the year before, but that was the first time Gavin Newsom had come to Ledge Day.
Yep.
And what came out of his mouth, I can't remember his quote directly, but he said that he could not believe how many realtors were there. Yep. How big we are. And I think that it really resonated with him. what kind of an impact we have with everybody and how important real estate is. So this is something that, you know, it could be $20 for each person, which is not a big deal. You know, you just, you know, 3, 4 Starbucks that you give up, but it's that little grain added all together amongst all of us really makes a big difference to fight for what we want and what we need, you know, for us as realtors and for our clients. So I think it's really important that we all, you know, donate and spread the word even with our clients, because there's some clients out there that are getting to see how important it is to vote, how important it is to look at all these issues that are, you know, going through Sacramento, because it affects everybody. And it's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
affect people, you know, their grandchildren, their kids, you know, it doesn't just stop with the homeowner.
yeah, very good point. And actually, she reminded me of something. It's very true because when Newsom became our governor, we you know, essentially did a 180 because Governor Brown was, well, frankly, he was much more in line with a lot of the traditional positions that we took in real estate on our, you know, with legislation, for example. And there was a little bit of uncertainty with Gavin Newsom. Generally speaking, he's been okay, but there are some issues that he's had just a direct contrast with where we stand. I mean, rent control is one of them, right? If Brown were governor, some say rent control would not have been a statewide initiative because he wouldn't have signed the bill. Whether he would have or not, we don't know. But you're right; those are the exact reasons why we go to Sacramento and why we have RAF in the first place. So that's an excellent example.
If I may, and it shed just a little bit of light on, after having attended Ledge Day a couple of times for sure, what I was most impressed with that I didn't really realize just as a realtor doing day-to-day business is 2 things. One, the lobbyists that CAR has and hires, that our money goes towards those lobbyists, what exactly they do and how much they care about home ownership and everything that involves us as realtors. And they're out there fighting for us. So that money goes to help that. And then also just with the meetings that we had with our local representatives, whether it was Congresswoman Allard or whoever our state, when I went one time, it was a different senator than we have now. It was a Senator Mendoza. Now it's Senator Archuleta, and then Assemblywoman Garcia. When you go into their offices and sit down with them, and we're bringing in, gosh, sometimes if we merge with the other associations that are part of our region, you know, gosh, 15, 20, 25 people are in there. And how receptive they are and how they ask us questions. And they seem so engaged and concerned about our concerns. And then when they do go and place their votes, in the times that I was there, they always voted the way we wanted them to vote. So it really does have great impact, having that person-to-person contact with them and just seeing what those lobbyists can do for us. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, people always, excellent point too, Carrie, because one of the things I always like to share with the offices when I'm doing broker outreaches, for example, or just visiting an office and talking about RAF is how influential the real estate industry is. And it doesn't happen if somebody, you know, just waves a wand. I mean, this is the money that we raise through RAF to make it such. And besides oil and gas, the realtors have the strongest lobby in California, and nationally, it's the same thing. You know, through NAR and the work we do through the state as well as local, like you mentioned. Again, it's the money that we raise as an industry that make us that allow us rather to have a seat and an influential one at the table. So. You're absolutely right, and people forget that connection, right? You hear the term lobbyist, and then you think, you know, Realtor Action Fund, and there's no connection, but there's a definite connection. So for people to, you know, contribute and invest, you know, $20, for example, or 100 or whatever they do, it goes a long way. And there's a lot of involvement. Frankly, I wish there were more involvement from the industry as a whole, percentage wise, but we have a pretty decent involvement level. But if there were more, we would probably surpass oil and gas and be the #1 lobby, period. So that's our goal.
Well, and here locally with Greater Downey, our president, Jennifer Avalon, has set a goal of 50%, and we're currently at 31%. So we have some work to do, one reason we're doing this video is to help people understand what exactly RAF is. So, and encourage everyone who hasn't yet to just donate $20 up to, I mean, you could be a golden bear. I think Carrie and both Erica have been, or is it silver bear? You guys have been silver bears. But really that's besides donating $20 to the Realtor Action Fund and answering red alerts, requests for red alerts. That's the least you can do to help your industry survive.
Yep. And this year, just to remind everybody, because of redistricting, there's some important elections. And, you know, we potentially will have, well, we will actually, a new congressperson in the area, assembly will be affected as well. So redistricting even on the local level. So it's a new political landscape for, as you mentioned, Jeanette, because of that new landscape, it's ever more important that we invest in our industry through RAF this year.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you everyone for your time. And we'll see you in Sacramento.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.